You know, when I was a kid, I grew up in the 50s. My wife's parents used to say if they didn't know what they were doing, they wouldn't be in Washington. And I believed this. Eisenhower, America, all good, all powerful. Wow, how lucky was I? America, America. And then I met Noam Chomsky somewhere along the way. And, I remember saying, what are you saying? And he looked at me and he said, never, ever trust the state. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Not trust the state? This is a child of the 50s hearing. I came of age in the 50s. And then I looked up to see that a president had lied to us, sent us to a war in Southeast Asia that cost 58,000 people. I learned about the decisions that were being made behind closed doors. I remember radical kids with tie-dye T-shirts, anti-war types, coming into my television show and saying, the FBI is spying on us, they're spying on us. And I thought, oh, come on, you're not that important. And then I'm too soon old, too late smart. I realized those kids were telling the truth. And then I saw that the IRS was kicking hardworking middle-class people around. And I thought to myself, Noam Chomsky, never trust the state. That's what a citizen should be doing. Not trusting the state, dissenting, being scratchy, like the little barking dog. That's the way democracy is promoted, and we have a constitution that permits that not only permits it, but encourages it, calls for it. What a wonderful, wonderful idea is this Republican experiment called the United States of America. But it's not going to work if we don't stretch and exercise the freedoms that it allows. Guarantees. I do think it's important that before we start wringing our hands and saying, ain't it awful, we have a responsibility to get in the suit of the, for example, news director of the local television station. If he leads with a city hall issue that has nothing in it that goes boom and no pyrotechnics against competition that leads with broken heads and bodies and car crashes, and that fare draws a larger audience, the man who wanted to serve the public interest loses his job because he loses in the ratings war. So at least we have a responsibility to understand this. As long as the largest audience is the coin of the realm, we're going to have probably more razzle-dazzle than an examination of issues that you and I might call much more important.